So thank you very much, Nisar Memon Saab, for taking time out for this interview. We would generally like to have your views on the water issues in Pakistan. There are lots of challenges with regards to water. So if we can have your views, general, what you feel are the issues, what are the gaps that need to be filled, policy-wise, intervention-wise, frameworks-wise in Pakistan.
I think, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here at the Hashu Foundation and speak on these subjects with a very educated and professional person like you. I think if we look at the water, Pakistan has come a long way. If you look at the 1947 and 70 years, we have come a long way, but there's a long way we have to go. We must keep that in mind because there's much more to be done too. In terms of if we were to look at the water sector, first of all, we need to see that what are the scenario. We, in terms of the resources, alhamdulillah, we have got resources from the glaciers to the sea. So you name it, and our ecology, our topography has everything in there, which also means that there are a lot of challenges to be faced in the entire thing. And then we must understand that water related, we have major two sources. One, of course, is the Indus River, the other is Kabul River, and Indus also includes the other rivers of the eastern rivers participation. So, and now today as we sit, I must say that God is kind, we have got rains also. There are times when we may not have it, so we have that. So the resource is this. Now we also have the policies. If you look at the water policy, you look at the climate change policy, you look at the environment policy, we have the policies also. So we have policies and our institutions are there and our people are educated. So where is the challenge? In fact, challenge really lies in managing all these resources effectively. And you manage it, there are different ways and we can expand on that. But I think that is the key. We manage the entire resource that we have and we manage all the institutions related to it. And that is what I would say is our major challenge.
So you talked about major challenges. One thing that we've noticed is because Pakistan is divided into provinces. Some issues are now delegated to the provinces. Some issues are still with the federation. And you also talked about integrating institutions and policies. One thing that we feel that is difficult, and we would like your views on how this can be done, is you have line ministries that are doing very specific things. They're either doing agriculture, they're doing irrigation, they're doing lots of things. But when it comes to sharing resources, when it comes to actually deciding who does what and whose responsibility is to do what, that's, I think, where we actually fail. Do you think the water policy, which came out last year, will actually be able to address these issues?
I think if you look at the water policy, and if you look at the entire resources, I think it addresses almost everything under the sun. Water policy that came in 2018, it came in after a long time. There has been a lot of discussions and yet came. But it has got almost, it addresses almost everything. But what truly is needed in the water policy, or for that matter, we also had the environment policy in 2005. We also had the climate change policy in 2012.
Yeah.
So policies is one. What truly is needed is that policies must be implemented. And I think implementation is also many times defined in the policies. And if it is not, it comes in. For example, National Water Policy clearly says there will be a council. Then it also talks about the steering committee. So there is a methodology of addressing those issues related to water as defined in that. Now the point is, if you talked about that Pakistan is a federation, and thank God we have an understanding which was the between the provinces after a long time though, but that was 1991 Water Accord, okay, signed by all the provinces together with the Federation. I think to implement that, authority like IRSA was Indus River Systems Authority was formed, and they are managing the entire flow of the water, allocations of the water. Now you see there is always two things you will hear in water. One is that water is there, let us allocate it, which is like partitioning, dividing it. And I will go a little bit further at this point in national water policy, is also the partitioning of the water with the neighbors like India and with Afghanistan that is yet to come. So now if you think about the partitioning, it's creating the silos. I think right now the whole thing is coming back to a national water policy. It is between the policy between the provinces. Now water is a subject which has now been in the 18th amendment been given to the provinces. Okay, it has many times it was irrigation was a water provincial subject, the food was a provincial subject, but now 18th amendment seals the whole thing and says it is a allocation to. Now if you have that, then I think any policy can only be successful if it is together with all the stakeholders. And in this particular case, the stakeholders are the provinces. And again, if you go to the provinces, I'm not going to stop here, but if you go to the provinces, it is the districts. And again, it goes down to the district level and goes right to the, from every district to also within the union council. So I think the entire thing has to be seen in a bigger perspective. And this is where I think water policy must be seen. 2 or 3 things about water policy. First of all, you must have read it and everybody can see it still. The water policy is like a charter among the stakeholders, whether of federation or of the provinces. Now if this charter is there, it also talks about the resources from where it has been defined. It has taken World Banks and various other reports. But interestingly, I missed one because there is one parliamentary committee on water resources of which I happen to be chairing it, 2003 to 4 and 5 that was tabled. There is no mention of that particular policy or many other policies which were given. What does this mean? That means that we look at it not from a political point of view, from the people point of view. We are just saying, okay, these things happen, but it is the parliaments which have to implement them. So one of the things is that it has certain weaknesses, or I will open critique, I will say. You also see that if you see the council is supreme body for this. It has various ministries, but inter-provincial coordination ministry is missing. So you see, we seem to miss many things. And I think it is because the leadership, the political leadership, does not get on to doing the work themselves.
True.
I think if the political leadership were to study everything themselves, I think these, I would call bureaucratic omissions will not be there. So I would say that council must be strengthened by the interprovincial so that there is a provincial thing. Then you have the steering committees. Now steering committee will implement the whole policy. Now if the implementation has to be done by them, then there is a representation of provinces, everything is there. But there is one thing very interesting. Where do you and me as professionals, or you may call me, I don't call myself expert, because expert is something who knows everything about everything. We are practitioners of the subject. So where we come in, there will be 5 that will be picked up. But then there is a world is beyond that, there's so much to be done. I would say the steering committee do well if they, on every topic that they have let down number of subjects. On everything they must invite standing committees. Like in Senate, I was in the Senate, and there we have standing committees on various subjects. So if they also have committees where they invite the expert, the professionals, practitioners, stakeholders, then I think it will strengthen and we will not make the same mistake. This is one thing. I would say that we can talk about it. It's a big policy. The only thing I'll say that this policy is more Indus River centric. It has totally, I would say it has not totally, but it has made a mention of the Kabul River. Now Kabul River is something like what? 16% of the total flow of the Indus that it has. Because Kabul, we have very interesting relationship with Afghanistan. With India, we have upstream and we are downstream. With Kabul, Afghanistan, we have upstream in terms of Chitral River, which becomes Kunar River, then it comes back again into the Kabul River and enters Indus. So I think we have that relationship and we ignore. And I must confess that even as a parliamentary committee on water resources, if you read the report which is on the website, we also just by the way mentioned it. Although that's a major thing, we did not. Now that the crux has come, because Afghanistan has made one already dam is made, Shatut, another dam is being made. Salma Dam and now the Shatut Dam. So this is what India is making. Now imagine we have Indus River Treaty, Indus Water Treaty with India, and we have problems also with India on different types, but it has survived. The agreement has survived the test of time. They have been warred, but treaty remains. Similarly, I would say that Indus is there. Kabul River Treaty should also be there so that we talk about the other percentage of water that is coming to it.